Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Monday, December 27th. Hope you all are doing well. Looking forward to giving you guys our last Monday training of the year. We're For all of you diehards, we're pushing through. A lot of people aren't working this week, but some are. So I want to share with you some kind of parting thoughts for the new year, so that you can. I'm sorry, for the new year, so that you can get the new year started off right. Right. So what I'm looking to do is kind of is give you just a few things to think about. And maybe you don't implement all of them, but if you just implement one of the five kind of ideas and concepts I'm going to share with you guys, I think it'll be super duper beneficial, and I think it'll be really helpful to kind of get you up and started. Right. So what I want to do now is, as you guys are hopping on, do me a favor and show me where you're coming in from, right? And by the way, guys, when you're hopping on, if you could do me a favor and just let me know that you are seeing this in the Facebook group. This is supposed to be streaming to the Facebook group. Just let me know as you guys are hopping on. I see a few people hopping on the line, so let me know, and we'll get started in just a second. Let me just checking for. There we go. Oh, is that Tim coming in from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina? Because I can see it I got it on my cell here, but on StreamYard, which is where I'm streaming from, it just says Facebook user. So as you guys hop on, if you can type in your name, that'll allow me to know who's hopping on, and where you're coming in from. I say we got Chicago, Illinois on the line. Chicago, okay, cool. Nice to see you, Tim. Yeah, I got family up there and up in Chicago, and I hear that they're supposed to be making an announcement up in Illinois. I think the governor is supposed to be making an announcement today, so we shall see. So hopefully they don't shut you guys down and you can continue to do business. But yeah, the COVID thing's going cray. But yeah, welcome. Thanks for being on, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank you as always. We have Dina is coming on from Kansas City, Missouri. Very nice to see you, Dina. Thanks for hopping on. So yeah, guys, let me know, and I'm going to be shouting out a few things just so you know. I like to help put all this stuff into context so that when you're doing your goals for next year, you know what it takes to hit your goals, right? Like this is the type of time of year, you should always have an idea of what your goals are, but it's very, very helpful from my perspective to see, what it takes to hit your goals, right? So, and in every state is different, right? If you're in Hawaii, it'll be a lot easier to hit your goal because their average sale transaction is 3.8 million, right? As opposed to some other states that don't have as high of an average sale price, right? So for instance, Missouri is 1.2 million is your average sale price. So if you get a 3% fee and you do an average commercial transaction, you're talking about $36,000 per transaction. Illinois for Tim is 1.3 million according to CoStar here, right? So guys, thanks again for joining us. It's probably going to be kind of a quiet night tonight. A lot of people are away on vacation and so forth, but I want to help those who are really serious about your business and decide to dedicate the time to be here to give you just a little bit more value, get you going for the new year, and show you ways that you can help grow your business and make sure you hit the ground running come next Monday, because 2022 is coming whether you're ready or not. So ready or not, here it comes. So we got 5 days left in this year. Technically like 3 working days if you count tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. Most people are taking off Friday. But yeah, we're going to hop into the presentation in just a second, and we will get going. I won't keep you terribly long. I know a lot of folks are at home with family and stuff, and we'll go from there. So let's see. Share my screen. How do I do it? I'm just got started on this this new streaming service, so I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Let's go to the window. Okay, cool. If you guys can do me a favor, all right? It's helpful for me in the comments if you can let me know. Type +1 if you can see the comments. I'm sorry, if you can type 1 in the comments if you can see 5 steps to ensure success in 2022. Can you guys type that in for me? And I am trying to find, for some reason this isn't showing up on FaceTime right now. I'm sorry, I mean on Facebook. Just give me 1 second. Something's wacky here. I know you guys are here because I'm only streaming it to one place, but for some reason Facebook is not showing it properly. Here we go. Okay, cool. All right, now it's coming up. All right. So, Bobby Ritchie, welcome. That's you're coming in from Maryland. Just to let you know, Bobby, the Maryland is 1.4 million is their average deal transaction, right? So, so we're going to go ahead and hop into it. So like I said, we're coming down this straight away. This year is wrapping up. You know, anything you're going to be doing the next couple of days, hopefully it's planning and getting ready for the new year. It's going to help benefit you in 2022. So I put together kind of like a really short little list of things that you can do and ways you can approach your day and your business and your practice so that 2022 you can get the most juice out of the grape, so to speak, right? Because I say it over the time, over and over and over again, we all have the same 24 hours. There's a reason why someone like Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Warren Buffett or whomever is hyper successful and they get so much more out of their days than the average person. It's because of how they approach their days. They're both strategic and tactical with the way they approach their days. By the way, can anybody tell me, you know, I've spoken about this in the past, if just to make sure I'm being understood, if the difference between something being a strategy and a tactic, can anybody tell me if you're familiar with those? If you can let me know, right? But meanwhile, I just want to welcome Brian. Brian's one of my usuals. Nice to see you, Brian. How are you? Amazon, again, from Indiana. Welcome. Good to see you guys. Really appreciate you being here. Brian, as we know, 2.5 million is your average transaction in New York. And I think you're working on something just about that size, or you had several deals going on there. They're right around that size. And Emma, let's see, Indiana's 1.2 million. So again, you know, regular average size transaction according to CoStar is going to be, you know, that $36,000 mark, you know. But what I always do is I always underestimate whenever you're figuring out your goals, which brings us perfectly into this first slide here. Whenever you're figuring out your goals, always make a conservative estimate. Don't act as if you're not going to double end any of these deals. Act as if they're going to be less than the average size, because then when you're doing things, when you're getting those 1 or 2 or 3 deals a year that you're getting both the sell side and the buy side for, it's a bonus and makes your job of hitting your goal a little bit easier. When you know, when you close deals that are the average size or larger, right? It makes your life easier because you're bringing in a higher dollar amount than what you plan for, right? But here's what I would say. Very first thing, okay, when we're talking about strategy versus tactic and how that relates to your goals, is you have to be very, very aware of how, okay, where you're going, right? You can't just set sail and just see where the wind takes you, right? That's not how you get from point A to point B. That's how you get from point A to someplace, but not the place you want to go, right? So Bobby says strategy is a plan, tactics is the steps. Exactly, 100%. Awesome. So you guys get this, right? So strategy is kind of like the route you're going to take, right? It's going to be, okay, I need to go from New York to California, and I'm going to hop on Route 80 and I'm going to head due west, right? That's the strategy. The plan is, okay, how fast you're going to drive, how often you're going to stop for gas, you know, how, you know, all these different things, where you're going to stop in between, you know, where you're going to do bathroom breaks, where you're going to stop to eat, where you're going to stop at the end of each day when you're making that New York to California drive. You guys with me? So it's the individual steps. So oftentimes people are saying, yeah, I want to make this goal, but they might have a strategy, but they might not have all the tactics in order. So I want to help break this stuff down kind of on a more bite-sized, steps, so that you can kind of see, because once you have clarity on what you're trying to do, it makes it a whole lot easier. But to be like, yeah, I want to make $1 million this year, but you don't have any real, a step-by-step incremental goals, it makes it a lot harder to hit that goal and to feel like you're on the path and thus giving you feedback to want to stay on, right? You with me? So what we first want to do is we want to take our annual goal. That's obvious. Everyone typically knows what they want to make in the next calendar year, right? Then you break that down into quarters, right? What that'll allow you to do is it'll give you benchmarks so you'll know if you're hitting them or not, right? Because annual, you don't want to wait an entire year to course correct if you're not hitting your numbers, right? Hitting your numbers meaning hitting the waypoints that you hit along the way to make sure that you are on the path to hitting your goal, right? The next one is your monthly goal, okay? You take that quarterly goal, you divide it up into 3, right? And then you have your monthly goal. That way, month in, month out, every 30 days, you are either hitting it or you're surpassing it or you're falling short of it. So you'll know you need to course correct a little bit, right? And then you have your weekly goal, which kind of keeps you honest. And then you have your daily goal, which is what you strive for every day. Think of it this way, guys. If let's say like executing a proper business plan is like following a proper diet, because in a lot of ways it is, right? You got to go to the grocery store. You got to have a list. You got to pick up the necessary nutrients. You got to make sure you cook them, and you make sure you got to eat it. You have to kind of eat the diet. You have to follow it closely, and you will see results in the long term, right? So in this case, we need know what our daily goal is. Like for instance, how many calories we take in a day, right? That's the equivalent of knowing how many dials to make, knowing how many people to reach out to, how many people to follow up with, and so forth. Are you guys with me so far? If you're with me, do me a favor and type +1 in the chat if it makes sense. Kind of like understanding how we got to take our overarching goal, we got to split it up into bite-sized kind of waypoints, so you don't get too far off the path one way or the other. And then on top of that, having them into really bite size allows you to know whether you're hitting it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if maybe you were a little slow last week by knowing your weekly goals, maybe you got to crank it up just a little bit the following week, because knowing your steps helps you figure out how to get there along the way, right? Like whether it's a diet or it's a trip or whatever it is, it's a workout routine, that type of thing. Okay, cool. I see Emma and Natasha are with me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so that's step one. You have to know where you're going before you ever lace up your boots and start hiking, right? You have to know where you want to go. So establishing these goals will help do that, right? The next thing is create a killer morning routine. Here's what I mean. I guarantee you, high-performing executives, high-producing brokers, high-performing athletes, high-performing CEOs, right? They don't just roll out of bed whenever. They don't just kind of show up to the office whenever. They don't just do something different one day and something different the next, and so on and so forth. I promise you, anybody that has hit high levels of success, whether it's in business, whether it's in athletics, whether it's in whatever that might be doing, I promise you, Olympians don't just kind of roll out of bed and maybe go to the skating rink at like 11:30 in the morning. No, they are there at 4 a.m., skating and eating right and exercising and stretching and so on and so forth, right? So if you think of it that way, you have to create a killer morning routine. Part of the steps of doing this, and some people like it, some people don't. I just know this. Whenever you have a routine and you stick to your routine, it makes it so much easier to create success. Number one, replicate success, and success always leaves clues. So maybe you're waking up the same time every day, but you just can't get to the office the same time when you want to. Then guess what? Maybe you have to wake up 15 minutes earlier, something like that, right? A very important part of your day, because once your day gets started and you get going with your business, it's very easy to get out of balance with life. So make sure you practice some form of self-care, whether it's meditating, whether it's journaling, which I highly recommend journaling, right? Whether it's going to the gym, it's doing yoga, breathing routines, whatever that is to help you feel like you are doing something for yourself before the day kind of takes you, by the hand and takes its way with you. Because you know what it's like in brokerage, folks. Like, sometimes it can feel like you got a tiger by the tail, right? And other days it's like you got a tiger by the leash, So hopefully you have more days where you're walking the tiger instead of the tiger pulling you. Make sense, right? So it's very important, though, in order to keep balance, because it's so easy to get out of balance with our job, because there's always more calls to make. There's always more things that can be done. There's always more phone calls to answer, always more emails to send, right? So if you don't practice self-care, be intentional about practicing self-care, it can be very easy to be all 24/7 consumed by your work, and then you yourself gets neglected, and that leads to burnout, right? Cool. All right, so the next thing is fuel up. Whether some people like to go caffeine on an empty stomach. Well, I'm not your nutritionist, but I will say this: the brain works best when it's fueled properly, right? It would be a good idea to have, to get your blood flowing. That exercise is great in the morning because it gets blood flowing to the brain. You think better, you think more critically, you're more awake by the time you do get to the office. Even if it's just a short 15 or 20 minutes, 30 minutes breaking a sweat, I promise you will perform better once you get to the office if you've done some form of exercise in the morning. And if you fuel your brain with what it needs, water. Some people need caffeine. I need caffeine. But a good solid breakfast, or maybe a light breakfast, but just something you have to fuel your brain. Your brain is a motor and it needs fuel. If you're driving down the highway and you don't put gas in your car, sooner or later your car is going to stop running. Your brain is no different. Okay. I highly recommend arriving at the office at the same time every day. It might seem silly, okay, But arriving at the same time every day allows you to get started the same way every day. At the same time, allows you to start kicking in your routine every day. Because if you start showing up 8 o'clock one day, 8:30 the next, 9 o'clock the next, 8:15 the next, you're never going to be able to time block. And time blocking helps us set aside time for the activities we know we need to do, right? Okay. And then finally, for those of you that really, really want to hit the ground running, start your prospecting before 8 a.m. every day. Okay. 5 days a week, start your prospecting before 8 a.m. 8:30 a.m. And by the way, if you guys don't want to, that's fine. I mean, if you hate money, that's fine by me. But for those of you that are here and you're here during New Year's week, you're obviously really looking to do better next year and increase your business and grow your business. One of the ways you can do it is start your prospecting before 8:30 a.m. and get it in and get it out of the way. If you can get your prospecting out of the way, eat that frog, like Brian Tracy says, before 10 a.m., I promise you the rest of your day will just take off and run so smoothly. All right. So guys, step 2, create that killer morning routine. Now, step 3, I would love nothing more than for you guys to analyze your business and figure out what the most important activities. Your business as brokers and agents, your business is you, right? Yeah, you might work for Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker, or might even have your own brand. But most importantly, it's very important to understand you are your business. So there's certain things that only you can do as a result, right? But there are a lot of things that you don't have to do, right? And Gary Keller is famous for saying, if you don't have an admin, you are one. What do I mean by that? Or what did he mean by that? If you are doing $15 an hour admin work, you are not going to be hitting your earning potential. Simply because there's certain things that an admin can't do. There's certain things that only you can do. There's no reason why you should be taking in, for example, putting a property on the MLS, creating a flyer, creating folders. There's so many things, administrative things, transaction coordination things that you don't have to be doing, that if you are doing them, you are lowering your earnings potential. Like we talked about in weeks past, take whatever number you want to make next year and you divide it by 2,000. So let's say you wanted to make, I don't know, $400,000 next year, right? You take 400,000, you divide it by 2,000. That's the amount of hours worked in a 40-hour work week, 50 weeks per year, right? And so 400,000 divided by 2,000 equals $200. That means you have to be 40 hours a week. You have to be doing $200 an hour work or more on average, okay? And if you're doing $15 an hour work, that's going to drag that possibility down severely, right? So what you need to do is write out all the steps in your business, right? I did a little flow chart when I first kind of decided to kind of try to hack my business, and created a flow chart, figured out what I could delegate, figured out what only I could do, and I delegated everything off to somebody that would free up my time for prospecting, presenting, and following up. No one will ever argue with you and tell you those are not the top 3 most important, right? And obviously negotiating, that's a big one. But in terms of finding new business, those are the 3 most important things you can be doing, and you need to be doing those as many hours of the day as possible and delegating the rest. You guys with me? Give me a +2 in the chat if you're with me. All right. And by the way, do me a favor, type admin if you already have an admin, and then type 2022 if you want 2022 to be the year that you get some administrative help, so that you can start really hitting those high earnings years. So do me a favor, +2 if you have an admin, right? Or admin if you have an admin, and 2022 if you're going to get an admin in 22. All right. Because I want you guys to understand it's how important that is. Your business will absolutely take off. It's like kind of like, having a bird trying to fly with mud on its wings, right? And next thing you know, you wash that mud off and that eagle can soar and take off because it's not being pulled down, okay? So again, keep in mind, guys, the most important thing you can do is be doing the things that only you can do and delegating the rest. And that's what step 3 is all about. The most important, identifying the most important activities, doing as much of those, and then paying someone to do the rest. Okay, this is a big one. Huge, huge, huge. Okay, so there's a phenomenon, and it's really interesting. The first time I ever saw it, it's called, so your brain has this little kind of switch in it, right? And it whatever you bring to your awareness, it will kind of kind of work to put the pieces together on, right? It's called your reticular activation center of your brain. And what that means is, for instance, when I was in high school, I went to the dealership and I wanted to buy a Honda Accord. And on the way home, all I saw passing by was Honda Accord, Honda Accord, Honda Accord. I said, man, this is the craziest thing. I remember telling my parents, once I looked at one of them at the dealership, that's all I could see on the road, right? Now, the interesting thing about it is that was my brain's reticular activation center. I didn't know what it was called then, but that was it kind of noticing these things. The reason why you want to plan your day the night before is your brain, similar to when I was trying to buy a Honda Accord, your brain will start figuring out and noticing and putting together the pieces. Your subconscious mind will start putting the pieces as to how to solve some of your problems for the next day, right? It'll think about, maybe, if you say, okay, I got to call Charlie, I got to call Joe, I got to call Susie, I got to call Mary, whatever, your brain will already start thinking about, like, what does that conversation need to sound like? Like, how am I going to approach this? How am I going to get this across the finish line? Who am I going to have to reach out to? Like, what strategy or tactic am I going to use to try to get that listing, or to get that negotiation, to work out in the favor of my client, whatever that might be. But when you plan the night before, number one, you're not coming into the office not knowing what you're doing. Your brain is settled. You can sleep better, and sleep hygiene is very, very important, right? And number two is your brain will already start solving those problems for you, and you'll wake up in the morning with, and different kind of percent, you would not have had if you were rushing into the office, showing up, coffee in hand, a kind bar in your pocket, out of breath, as opposed to getting there. You're very settled, you're very structured, your list is on your desk, you know exactly what you need to do in your brain, you already got a chance to sleep on it. And you know how a lot of people, when they're trying to make a decision, they say, you know what, let me sleep on it. They don't even realize it, but what they're allowing to do is allow their subconscious mind to kind of filter and mull over whatever the decision is at hand, and it's not without a good reason. They don't even know they're doing it, probably. But when people say, I want to sleep on it, it's because they want their subconscious mind to help them work through things. And planning the night before is exactly how you get your subconscious mind to help you work through some things. You guys with me so far? You guys with me? Okay, cool. And then finally, the last step of the night is to track your numbers like a scientist, right? I'm pretty sure the engineers at NASA, when they're trying to send someone to the moon, that they weren't just like, nah, let's just see what happens. Let's just see. I don't know. We'll see. No, they track everything. They track the temperature, the direction, the wind, the velocity. They're like the physicists, right? So what they do is they're trying to take into account all these variables and see how that's going to have an effect on the way that rocket or that spaceship or whatever it is travels through space, right? Similarly, we have to track our numbers, and it's very simple. It doesn't take but a couple seconds, per dial, just to go tick, tick, tick to work through your numbers, right? I've heard of someone having 2 cups, right? And here's even simpler, right? Have 2 cups, little Dixie cups, right? And let's say you want to make 25 calls a day, right, to get started with. You put 25 paper clips in that cup, and as you're dialing through the phone, you make one dial. You leave a message, they answer, they don't answer, whatever. You take one paper clip and you put it in that other cup. And then you make the next call. And when you get done with the next one, you put it. And by the time you're done making your 25 dials, 25 paper clips have gone from one cup to the next cup, right? Pretty simple stuff. So that will let you know once you hit your goal. And then the only other thing that I want you to take, the only 2 other things, right, is going to be how many people you actually speak to, you get a hold of. You're calling Joe Smith, you get Joe Smith on the phone, not his wife, not his daughter, not his housekeeper, not his cousin, right? You want to speak to whoever you are trying to reach, you get a hold of. That's considered a contact. And then once you speak to X amount of contacts, how many meetings you get from those contacts. So 3 numbers each day. How many attempts, right? Doesn't be how many you get through, just how many times you dial 10 numbers and the phone started ringing, right? That's attempts, how many contacts, and how many appointments you got. Very easy, because what'll happen is, once you start paying attention to these things, once you start paying attention to these numbers, what that'll do is you'll be able to start seeing trends, right? Like, it's no different than, like, if you're on a diet looking at the scale every day, and guess what? If everything's going right, and next thing you know, the scale number starts dropping and dropping and dropping, guess what? You're moving in the right direction. Or if you're on a diet or you're working out and the scale number keeps going up and up and up and up and up, that's going to tell you a story too. Maybe you got to dial in something with your diet, right? Or if you're a guy looking to put on muscle, maybe you're moving in the right direction. The most important thing though is that you track all your numbers so you can see the trends evolving. You don't want to go on feel. You don't want to go on gut instinct, because that's not what works over a long period of time. Some days you're more energized than others. Some days you're more optimistic than others. We're all humans. We're all, subject to, changes of emotion and so forth. But I always tell clients when I'm trying to get a listing, I say, listen, brokers might tell you stories, but the numbers will never lie to you. That's when I show them comps. I'm like, these are the comps. I can't make this stuff up. These are hard data. And similarly, you should try to collect as much hard data in your business as possible, because when you track those numbers over a long period of time, you're going to know exactly what it takes to earn the money you want to make. You're going to know exactly if you're putting in the right amount of effort to hit your goals. You're going to know how many dials it takes to get that listing. You're going to know how many no's you're going to get before you get a yes, right? And all these things help you understand more about your business and help you ultimately be more confident and be more successful in the long run, right? And again, guys, track the numbers so that you can then extract trends and then make the right choices for your business. Oh, not hitting my monthly number, months 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we got to dial those numbers up. Okay, so maybe instead of doing 30 dials a day, we do 35 dials a day. And then we start getting more meetings, we start getting more listings, and we get on track. But if you're never tracking your numbers, I got news for you. It's never going to work out to your event, because you're not going to be pulling the right data so that you can make the right, what's called outcome-based decisions for your business, right? When you track the data, those are outcomes. You see how many dials you made, how many people you got on the phone, how many appointments you got, how many listings you got. Those are all outcomes. When you make decisions based on the outcomes, it's called outcome-based decision making, and it's the best way to improve your business the fastest way possible. You guys with me? If you're with me, give me a big +1 in the chat so I know that we're all on the same page here, right? And finally, guys, if you guys are looking to crush it next year, we can help. We only work with people that are serious, that really want to make a dent in their business, really want to level up from one to the next. If you want to increase your business by 10%, God bless you. You can hang out on the Monday calls, and you can get as much information from the trainings as and we love having you guys on. But if you really want to level up, you want to increase your business 30, 50, double, 100%, whatever that means to you, we can absolutely help you. I've had growth in my business. I've tripled it in 24 months by doing the right things and getting the right systems dialed in. And we have other students that have vastly increased their business as well. So we want to help you do the same. So if you guys want to crush your goals, do me a favor, type training in the comments. What we can do is we can hop offline, we can have a conversation and see if some of the challenges you're experiencing are something that we can help you with, right? Because if so, if you want to make sure that you do everything in your power to make 2022 the year that you have that major breakout in your business, and you start saving for retirement, and you start upgrading your lifestyle and having a bigger impact on your community and helping your family and all the good things that come with being more successful. If you want next year to be your year, type training in the comments, and we'll hop on a conversation. Either myself or somebody on my team will reach out to you, and I'll hop on the phone and see if what we do is the right fit for what you need. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. I understand we're in a holiday week. Thank you for investing your time so that you can invest in your business, because the people that are doing, the way I always look at it is, if you want to be a 1% earner, you have to do what 99% of the people will not do. And as evidenced by today, you guys here, on a very slow holiday week in between holidays, like, you guys are doing the things that 99% of people won't do. So I applaud you. Thanks for being here. And again, if any of you are looking for help, I can certainly help you. Just type training in the chat, and I will see you folks in the new year. Please have a happy, safe new year to you and all your families. I really look forward to bringing you more information and more training on Mondays, every Monday in the new year. And I hope you folks have a happy, safe new year, and I'll see you in January. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.